Unit 4, Lesson 5, we're going to take a look at graphs and exponents. So we have looked at some different types of graphs this unit. This year. Get my board to work. There we go. One is for linear graphs. They make a straight line when graphed, and they have the equation y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. That's one type of relation. The most recent type is the quadratic relation. And quadratic relations make a parabola when they're graphed, and the parabola can open up or open down depending on the sign of that a number. And they have an equation that can be written in three forms: the vertex form, standard form, or x-intercept form. And that's what we just finished. The last type of relation is exponential relation. An exponential relation makes a different shape when graphed. An exponential relation will look like this when graphed. Look like that when it has a whole number exponent, so like 2 to the x. Or if it were to have a fraction base, I think exponent I said before, if it had a fraction base, it would go the other way. So an exponential relation makes that shape when graphed. It has the equation in the form where y equals ab to the exponent x. So it can multiply by a number in front, it's got a base, and then x is the exponent. To graph, we're going to make a table of values and plot the points on our graph. So we're going to take a look at these by making a table of values. And we've done this before, our x and our y. So we'd have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and we put each number in for x. So I would have 2 to the -2, which is what we have been doing in class. Negative exponent means you flip the base. So I have 1 over 2 squared, which is a quarter. So I have the point -2 and 1/4. And then I'll do 2 to the -1. To the -1, I flip my base around, so I'd have a half. And then I do 2 to the exponent 0. Anything to the 0 is 1. And then I do 2 to the 1. And then I do 2 to the 2. And there's my table of values. So when I go to put that on my graph, give myself a little scale. And I put those points on. -2 and 1/4. -1 and 1/2. 0 and 1. 1 and 2. And 2 and 4. And I join up those points and I get the shape that we had above. And I can do the same thing with this graph. I make another table, x, y, same x numbers, and I substitute them in. If I have 1/2 to the -2, we talked about this before, flip my base around and make the exponent positive. So I have 2 to the exponent 2, which is 4. And then I would have 1/2 to the -1, flip my base around and make my exponent positive. So I have 2 to the 1, which is 2. And then I have 1/2 to the 0. Anything to the 0 is 1. 1/2 to the 1. And 1/2 to the 2. And I get my values. Give myself a little scale. So I have -2 and +4. And I have -1 and 2, 0 and 1, 1.5, and 2 1/4. And I join up the points, and I get my nice curve like before. And the last one. Pick numbers for x. So I have 3 times 2 to the exponent -2. 2 to the exponent -2 we already did. It's a quarter. And 3 times a quarter is 3/4 or 0.75. And I do 3 times 2 to the negative 1. 2 to the negative 1 we've already done. 2 to the negative 1 is a half. So 3 times a half would be 3/2, or 1.5, 1.5. 3 times 2 to the 0. 2 to the 0 is 1. So 1 times 3 would be 3. It's 2 to the 1. 2 to the 1 is 2. And 2 times 3 would be 6. And the last one, 2 exponent 4 is 4. And 4 times 3 is 12. And I put a scale on my graph. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And I put my points on. So I have positive 2 and 12, positive 1 and 6, 0 and 3, 1, negative 1 and 1.5, and negative 2 and 3/4. And there's that shape again. So your job now is to try some of those in your textbook, page 390.